Welcome in, race fans, to another episode of In the Dirt. And Webb is not here with us tonight. We got a whole group of guests coming on with us this evening. Jim, the Moon Man Moon. Mr. Turkey Turner will be in the house tonight. We're going to have call-ins by Mr. Rick Eshelman. Ronnie Johnson, who's just coming off a win down at the Neesmith, the Winter Nationals, down at Bubba Raceway Park. And one of the most controversial guys this week, Mr. Justin McCree. Don't know if you've seen his action on Thursday at Bubba's, but I don't know what that deal was there, but it was pretty interesting to say the least. I think a guy just got in there and lost his head a little bit, so I don't think Justin did anything wrong, but we'll talk about that later. But, oh, man, lots of things going on. It feels like race season, and I'm just not getting anything done. But without further ado, I'm going to bring a special guest with me tonight, Mr. Jim Moon. What's happening, Jim?
Not much. What's up, buddies?
Oh, dude. Nothing going on in the Midwest out in Illinois?
No snow. So I guess that's a plus.
We got a little bit over here. Enough to freak out the local Cincinnati natives. I mean, it doesn't take much to do that. So,
well, who else we got on this deal tonight?
We got Mr. Turkey Turner, and I believe he's right here in the room with us.
I'm here. I'm here.
We were having a good discussion off the air just a minute ago. And when our first guest calls in, we got to make sure that we get his take on this.
Okay, that'd be great.
So
if you was in Florida, it was definitely racing weather. It was about 80 degrees in the daytime, and it was about probably 65 to 70 at night. And it was a good week for racing. The weather was beautiful. Bubba's was great. You know, there was a few issues about track preparation there, but Bubba had some other issues during the week. But when he got there, I think we had a fine racing surface to work on.
I watched some of the races. I didn't get to sit down and watch every night, but I did go back and check out the highlights from Dirt on Dirt. And it really seemed to me like it was kind of hit or miss from time to time. It looked like he had some good racing on the restarts, and then sometimes it would kind of slick off. But all in all, there were some. It seemed pretty darn good. But what are you guys' plans for the rest of the week? I know your boy is a Neesmith regular, right?
Yes, sir, he is. We are back at the shop and just taking note of what all we tore up. We lost a car Saturday night, had to bring out the backup car. But
when you say you lost the car, what do you mean you lost the car? Somebody steal it?
We got in a wreck on the first lap of the heat race, and a guy come over the hood of us and hit the left tire, and it knocked a clip off the car.
Oh, that's a bad deal.
Well, it was, but it was. You can't blame nobody, and it was just hard racing. I mean, the competition down there was just unbelievable. I mean, you take, for instance, Ronnie Johnson. He didn't make a race one night. Jonathan Davenport, he struggled all week. Rambo, I mean, he came and tried, and he wasn't that good, and I mean, there was a lot of good, hard racing, and the competition level was probably one of the best I've ever seen at a Neat Smith race, and, we've been to every one of them. And, I mean, you had Hollingsworth, J-Mac, Davenport, you had Doug Horton. I mean, the list goes on. It was probably the stoutest competition that I hope you'll see more during the year, but at any one event, there was more competition there this week than there was at the $10,000 races. I mean, we had 70 cars. We averaged, no, we didn't have 70 cars. We had 67 cars, I think. But out of the 67 cars, we had 40 cars that could make the race any time. It was just split-second qualifying times and driver. And, you know, along about Friday and Saturday night, you had people that had never made the race all week, and they got up on the wheel and just out of desperation was driving not over their head, but, you know, hey, if I'm going to make this race, I got to get up on the wheel and drive, and it's just aggressive racing, and you can't fault nobody for that. I mean, I'm the first to tell you that I get mad sometimes for idiots driving, but it was just strictly desperation drivers that they weren't driving over their head. It's just that the competition level was that great.
Yeah.
I mean, it was some great racing.
When you get people tied in like that, it's, you know, it kind of puts you're not only down there racing against guys that are that good, but you have to get in that mindset that anybody that's there could outrun you. So it just makes you, I think, push yourself that much harder. Yeah,
that's true. Matthew's always been a conservative driver. He doesn't like to tear up stuff, and he gets laid back. But it's like I told him when he went out Saturday night. I said, son, we got to make this race, and you're gonna have to get up on the wheel. Well, he did, and we had to drag out our backup car, and we should have drug it out the first night because it was super fast the minute we unloaded it.
And that's one of those things that make you nuts when you prep a car. You prep, and then you just pull out the one that you brought for a spare, and it ends up being faster than the one you worked for 2 months on.
Yeah, and everybody walks by. Well, that's the car you should have drug out first. Well, but we didn't know that it's going to be that fast, you know. and that's the way it goes sometimes, you know. It's like drawing. Sometimes you draw number 1, sometimes you draw number 200.
So give us the lowdown on the tech situation down there this week. Was there anybody caught doing anything? I mean, did everybody roll through tech okay, or were there any concerns?
Well, as far as me talking to Tim Sims and asking him, I didn't do that, but I was told there was a couple of people tossed on tires. But now that's off the record. As far as coming from a Neat Smith official, I don't know.
Hey, this is just rumors, gossip, and lies anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Right. But I was told.
You guys are going to get in trouble.
No, I don't think that. But I do know the sniffer was
get
out.
In trouble. We can't get in trouble. We might get Webb in trouble.
Yeah, we might get Webb in trouble.
He doesn't care. He's not thinking about us right now. He said that he was going to have a family weekend, and that's what he's doing. So I said, well, if we burn this thing down this weekend, you're going to be in a lot of trouble come Monday.
Right. Well, he's taking care of the most important people in his life right now, and they're both women. They're both women.
That's it. But see, he gave me this list of things that maybe I shouldn't say anything about yet to leave for him. And we haven't discussed any of that yet. So as long as it's not on this list, I'm in good shape.
You ain't gonna dump a 55-gallon barrel of racing fuel on the fire, are you?
Oh, why, heck no. I wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't do nothing like that, would you?
No, sir, not at all. Hey, we got our first guest calling in. Should we go ahead and bring Ronnie on, Turkey?
Yeah. Let's make the old professional and break him in right.
You want to give him an introduction to the world of people that don't know who Ronnie Johnson is? Well,
I can.
Go ahead.
Everybody knows him as RJ, and he is a Hall of Fame inductee, and he's probably got more laps than most people does in a late model race car, and he is the winningest driver in crate late model, And it's an honor and a privilege to introduce Ronnie Johnson, the Chattanooga Flash, out of Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Hey, Turkey, but the problem is that that's actually Rick Eshelman on the line.
Oh, my God. You would do that to me, wouldn't you?
Hey, guys, I'm doing a good Ronnie Johnson impression. Thank you for another trophy. Thank you.
How's it going, Mr. Eshelman?
Good, guys. What's up, Ryan?
Not too much. We're just on here shooting the crap about racing this weekend. I hear you got some racing on your mind, too.
Yeah, we've done a little thing called the World of Outlaws Late Model Series 10th anniversary. This year at the end of World Finals, we will have completed 10 years of racing. It's big. It's a monster schedule. I mean, we're going here, there, and everywhere. And, of course, we're going to start it off at Red Griffin's Scrubbin Motorsports Complex over in Sylvania, Georgia. Believe it or not, guys, Friday night. Can't wait.
Ooh. So, Mr. Lanigan coming off a championship, but with the momentum that Shane Clanton has had from, being out west, and I believe he's bringing his talents to the World of Outlaws this year.
Oh, yeah, and Tim Fuller, his teammate, picking up 2 wins out there. I mean, let's face it, Josh Richards is there. We are going to have ourselves one heck of a point battle this year. Ain't no 2 ways around it.
Well, you all know where I stand on this, and I'm saying that Darrell Lanigan, even with the competition of Shane Clanton, Tim Fuller, and Josh Richards, still takes home 10 this year. That's my prediction.
You know what? He's hard to beat, guys. He's hard to
crazy.
beat. But we have seen in the past, and I will stand by this, we have seen in the past that when you leave the Sunshine State, sometimes your fate is determined. Sometimes you have to work for it. We've seen it both ways. We've seen it where drivers have been behind when they left Florida and ended up coming back, and we've seen them leave Florida and never lose the point lead. So it's going to be a big determinant factor, boys. 8-point races starting Friday night before we ever head out of Florida. That's huge.
That is huge. You're right. That's the same thing with crate racing. We have seen over the years you leave Florida, and some people never relinquish the lead, and then some has been behind the 8 ball, and when the season was over back in Florida again, we've had a whole new top 5.
Were all those races down at Bubba Raceway Park this week, were they point races?
Well, they were going to be, but he wound up doing 3 out of 5.
Right, so the 3 best finishes, in other words.
Yeah, so, well, I'll tell you just this is a scenario we was in. On Saturday, we were 13th place. After Saturday night, when he done away with, pulled up the best 3, we wound up, we're 20th. So we lost 7. We lost 7 positions because he took the best 3.
Yeah, sometimes that can hurt you. Sometimes it can help you. It all depends on how the points fall and the night fall. I can see both ways.
So, Mr. Eshelman, so do we do all of those point races in Florida so that you guys get your guys down there and it makes them want to come to Florida more? Or, I mean, what's the reasoning behind that?
Yeah, pretty much. We used to start the season in Florida for 2 races. Well, with the way things are going and everybody wanting to get a piece of the pie as far as scheduling big events, we decided, okay, we can get more point races. And, it's lucrative for those guys to come to those shows and get them points early. And for some drivers that thought, well, I'm going to run with the Outlaws of Florida and then I'm going to go my separate way. Well, if they leave Florida decent in the point standings, now you're talking a whole different scenario. They got a chance to collect a payday in November by running the whole schedule. So it's kind of a double-edged sword on the good side, if that makes sense to you guys.
Well, if you run your series and everybody, do you have a plan for the drivers who follow you to pick up money just to show up?
Yeah, the drivers have a contingency plan in place to where, they'll benefit by staying up there in the points. And, of course, at the end of the year, the top 10 in points get one healthy payday at the Great Wolf Lodge in Concord, North Carolina, at our banquet. So, yeah, you definitely want to stay up there in the running because, it's much better up top than it is down below. Everybody knows it.
Well, I know that, but I'm saying just like you got 25 followers that show up at every race. Does the 25th follower get a check for showing up?
What it is the drivers that do not make our A main event, if they take a green flag in any last chance showdown event or B main as it's known, all they have to do is take the green. They will get that $110 back. They only have to start the B if they don't get in on the feature.
Well, the thing about it, Mr. Turner, is that if you're gonna follow the series, you're probably gonna be pretty good in points, and if you don't make the show, you're gonna have those provisionals waiting for you. So, and a lot of those shows pay really good money just to start.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you're talking $700 to start on a $10,000 to win, and $20,000 to win typically is $1,500 to start, and that's to start the race, guys. So yeah, it pays.
That's some pretty good money. But the problem with your series, and I'm not knocking, I'm just looking at it as a picture because, trust me, I've looked at it for the last 3 weeks about going late model racing, open motor.
Okay.
You got to have $65,000-$70,000 car and motor when you show up at your racetrack. To go great racing, you got to have $25,000.
Well, that means it's not one.
Quick.
You got to have two.
Let me address this here now. I'm going to stand with you on that on maybe a big racetrack, say a half-mile type racetrack, because, A, you got to have the biggest motor. B, you got to have the best tires, okay? But go to a place like Scriven. That's a totally equal playing field for everybody. It ain't about motor there, fellas. You can have a $20,000 home-built super late model motor. If you're set up right, while those guys in those $50,000 motors are spinning their tires in the corner, you're going through the corner with less power, faster.
If that's the case,
situation for some and a good one for others.
Well, if that's the case, why don't you let the 525 run? You guys sent me home last year at Belle Claire where I was leading the points at.
That's a question I can't answer on the tech side, and I'm glad I'm not part of that. Because I am not a technically smart. I'm technically challenged, okay? I leave that to the professionals.
He's here just to strictly build these guys up. And they wouldn't let you run.
But no, wait a minute. I'm leading the track points. And they sent me home.
You had a provisional spot then.
I had a provisional no matter what happened into that show.
Oh, that sucks for you, dude.
And they sent me home, and because of it, I wound up second in track points.
You should have called that, what's that company that makes those distributors for that thing?
There you go.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's a sealed crate motor. Are the World Outlaw guys really that afraid that a man's going to beat them with a sealed motor?
Well, no, that's a whole nother episode.
Was it in the rule book that a double coil can't run? Is it in our rule book?
In your rule book,
yes.
The World Outlaws, yes. But UMP...
Okay, well, here's the thing. Hold on. Your own question. We have rules that we follow. We don't bend them. They say rules are made to be broken. We don't break them. We stick by them. That way nobody can say we're not consistent. If you see it in the rule book, you ain't going to change it.
Okay. So what are we looking forward to this week, Mr. Esselman?
It sounds like a lot of good racing from what I'm hearing on that end.
Hey, everybody's already fired up, and we're going to petition. We need to petition the World Outlaws to legalize the 525.
Well, wait just a second. I have a question. I have a 525, and that's the only open motor that my
you are not.
I'm not welcome in World of Outlaws for that.
No, they will
send you home.
You have to have a distributor, Turkey. There's a company that makes them. You got to put that distributor on it. Get rid of that ignition box.
But at that point, it is no longer a sealed GM crate engine.
Right.
At the point you put the distributor on it, you are no longer legal to run any sealed 525 motors at a UMP race. So I'm running a car that's UMP legal. That's UMP legal. And World Outlaws is telling me I can't run it at my UMP local track.
So that's their point. You don't want the 525 at your racetrack.
Yeah, you're in an area I'm not familiar with as far as the engines go. Again, I flip a microphone switch. That's about as technically advanced as I am. You have to talk to the tech people about that.
Can you call the tech guy tonight and get him on this program, Rick?
I don't know if I can reach him.
Give me the number. We'll call him.
Yeah, let's get him on the phone.
I can put you in the back. You willing to do that? We'll get the tech guy on here, Mr. Eshelman.
There you go. You get that answer from him because I'm technically challenged. That's all
At that point right there, Webb is wiping the sweat off of his forehead. I'm sorry, Jim. I had to turn Jim's mic off for a second because Mr. Eshelman's got some important news to deliver for us for the fans out there wanting to go to the Winter Nationals in Florida. So we'll get back on that.
About it, guys. I mean, we've got 8 races, 2 events at Screven Motor Speedway this weekend, February 8th and 9th. Then, of course, February 15th, 16th, and 17th. Believe it or not, 8, 12, and 20 to win at Bubba Raceway Park. And, of course, the final 3 nights of the Dirt Car Nationals on February 21st, 22nd, 23rd, all 50-lap, 10,000 win main events. And let's just face it, I think the weather's actually going to be good this year all the way around.
Well, Turkey said it was nice down there at Bubba Raceway Park, so I'm thinking over in Tampa it's going to be real good.
You can add at least 10 degrees over anywhere else where you're at. Just no 2 ways around it.
Well, let's open up a big can of worms. What does the World of Outlaws, how do they stand on the tire doping rule?
Again, guys, I'm not in that. You're asking a tech question. You're going to have to talk to the tech people.
We got to get the tech guy on here. We're beating up the announcer. Imagine what's going to happen if we get the tech guy on here. He's going to be scared to death.
First, you got to get the announcer to get the number to call the tech man.
Okay, wait. Hey, Rick, if I'm ever at a race, are you ever going to announce me in a positive light after this interview?
Absolutely. I have no problems with nobody. I've never had an enemy, and I don't plan on ever having one.
Well, Mr. Eshelman, is there anything else you want to tell the world about the World of Outlaws?
Yeah, guys, I think you're going to see probably the best season we've had so far as the points goes. And always there's going to be a lot of different winners. You'll see local winners win at their tracks. And it's going to be a good season. Go on worldofoutlaws.com, check it out, and see it when you can because everybody's welcome, even you.
Any predictions on who's going to make the highlight reels this year? Who's the guys we need to be watching?
Well, obviously, you look up at the top. You look at anybody that's vying for that championship of those 10 contracted drivers. I think the rookie battle is going to be the one that a lot of people are going to talk about with Eric Wells from Hazard, Kentucky, Dylan Wood from New Smyrna Beach, Florida, and Morgan Dagley from Longview, Texas. We got 3 totally different types of drivers, and they're all going to go at it for that rookie title. That's going to be huge.
Absolutely. Well, Mr. Eshelman, I really appreciate you coming on the show with us tonight. Everybody, make sure you check out the website. What is that?
That's worldofoutlaws.com.
Thank you so much, sir. You're welcome to come on anytime and argue with these guys about that.
Hey, argue all you want. That's what makes the racing exciting because we're all different.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, guys. Good luck to all of you.
You too. Hey, we got our man on here, Turkey.
I hear you. Put him on.
This time he's on here.
Okay.
Ronnie Johnson.
Yes.
How's it going, sir?
Doing fine.
Before Mr. Eshelman came on, I told Turkey, I said, won't you give Ron, we were talking about how you won that race down there at Ocala this past week, which congratulations on that. And I had Turkey give you this big introduction, but the introduction was for Rick Eshelman.
Well, you gotta realize who all you're dealing with here. We're all just a bunch of racers. Nobody ever said we're very intelligent.
Thank you so much. At least you can explain that to these people that get mad because we're so insane, I guess.
Well, I tell people all the time, I mean, this sport, the whole thing, it doesn't matter if you're a driver, fan, if you're the guy that prepares the track owner, whatever role you play in the sport of auto racing, you do it for the passion of the sport. You're certainly not doing it for the money. You might think you are. It took me 35 years for me to realize that my dad was right, but I'm still doing it, and I've done it for so long now, I can't quit now. I'm just going to ride it out, till the end.
So you just coming off the Neesmith races down at Ocala, and how many of those did you pick up over this week?
Oh, we just won the one, but it was the finale. But we had 2 third-place finishes. We had a 6th-place finish, and then there was, I guess it was Wednesday night there, we didn't make the show, and but we wound up 2nd in the points, so we had a good week. We didn't really tear anything up, and we certainly enjoyed the weather down there.
Now it seems to me like any time that race, pretty much any racetrack you go to, if it goes slick, you are absolutely going to be the man on a tear. I mean, what is it that you guys are doing that these other guys are missing out on?
It's an age factor. When I first started racing, we used to bring the guys at Cleveland Speedway. We'd bring the guys at Water Track. We'd bring them beer so they'd put more water on it. And I just thought all I wanted to do was go fast. You just wanted to see how fast you could go. And over the years, you get a little bit older, and you want things to slow down a little bit. You want things to slow down so you don't have to drive as hard, so you don't tear up as much stuff. Really, honestly, the whole key to that is just slowing down. And I know it don't make any sense, but bottom line is you just got to slow down, and you just really got to slow down, and you got to wait for obviously, if the track has a lot of traction in it and you slow down, everybody's going to pass you, but most of the guys just try too hard. When the track gets slick, they just try too hard. You just got to slow down.
And for a lot of years, and when I was younger, it was always race as hard and hard as you can, and that's constantly what was fed into you. And then I get into a late model, and I found out really fast that you couldn't just go wide open all the time. And I had a very talented driver by the name of John Sizemore kind of school me through some stuff, and that is about the best advice I've ever gotten from him. Was you just need to slow down and stop spinning them tires all over the place.
Well, it's really easy to get your car too tight for a slick track, and that's another concept that's hard to understand. I mean, you think when the track slows down, you need to make your car tighter, but when the track slows down and the driver slows down for the racetrack, you'll find now that you can't jerk the steering wheel to make the car turn, and you can't stab the brake or you can't stab the gas to make the car turn. So it's easy for the car to wind up being too tight. So you actually free it up and you just slow down. Now, this Ocala place, I don't know. There's been a few tracks I've been to. It seems like when we get to Florida and maybe South Georgia, it seems like over the years you have to have a car that will turn better. The shapes of the tracks are flatter. They've usually got a lot of corner to them, and you have to free the cars up in general there. It's hard to get a car freed up enough for Ocala. I never heard anybody down there all week complain about being loose. You have trouble getting the car to turn, so you have to work on the car and get it where you're steering it with the front end, and not with the controls. You just, when the track's wet, man, you just hold her on the floor and you can yank the steering wheel and stomp the pedals and you can make it turn. But when the track slows down, the car has to drive itself, and when that happens, when you can get that to happen, usually can be pretty good. But again, years ago, I used to want to see how fast I could go. Now I want to see how well I can finish, and that gets me in trouble. That's exactly what got me in trouble tonight. We didn't make the race. We went out hot lap good. We were up on the board in our hot lap times, and I went out to qualify. And that track down there will start turning black, and you think you got to slow down. You think it's time to slow down. Went out there and qualified, and I couldn't. For some reason, that night the board wasn't working. I couldn't wait to come in, my crew, to tell me we've got the pole for our group. We were fifth. And
wow.
So I was too conservative, and we got out there in the heat, ran third in the heat, and they were only taking two the first two nights. We got out there, and Concy was on the front row with Davenport. He gets the lead. I took in for second. I'm sure he was thinking the same thing I was, just, guard the bottom, get 10 laps in the books and get in this race, and then we'll go race. So I'm just poking around there, kind of guarding my line. We get the white flag, and I hear Carl on the outside, and now it's time to speed up. It's too late, and this guy gets position on me, beats me to the line by, he might have got his whole car past me. I doubt it. Probably half, three-quarters of the car makes the show. And we didn't make the show, and it's all because I was too conservative. But when you're in that position, you're in that transfer spot, you're thinking you need to protect that. The guy that's not in that transfer spot, he's got nothing to lose.
So that makes you push it just a little bit harder, and maybe that's where it goes away. But I thought that was interesting when you were saying when the track gets slick, you got to keep freeing the car up.
Right. You have to get the car to where it will turn, because when the track slows down and you start yanking steering wheels or hitting pedals to make the car turn, you might do that every other lap.
Then you're out of control.
Right. But eventually you're going to go in there and you're going to miss your mark. You're going to shove out of the groove, or you're going to slide out of the groove, or whatever. And next thing you know, you got a guy under you. And then you start trying harder. Now you got two guys past you. And it's just all a part of, of racing for a long time. And when you're making those changes to the car, you don't always make the right changes, but
it goes back to just having the laps and the mindset, and it just goes further to tell you how important the mental aspect of this sport is. Not so much I wouldn't say not so much the chassis and the motor, but just being mentally prepared for races like that is extremely important as well.
The mental aspect of just life in general is everything. I mean, I think that defines your health, and your everything that you do. And there's a lot of factors there. Just like I said, we were down there. We were enjoying the weather. We didn't have any problems with anybody. We didn't tear the car up. And you can walk out there and you can watch those other guys race. You can watch the track change, and you've got a clear mind. You can think about what you need to do, and still you're making educated, not guesses, but you don't always. It's all about making the right decision at the right time, and you don't always make the right decision, or you make it too early or make it too late. But that's what racing's all about, is making the right decisions at the right times. And if you get out there and you get into somebody else's wreck, or if you're having engine problems, or if your tires are going flat and it's not your fault, you get sidetracked from all that. Sometimes it just goes your way, and in racing, like anything else, sometimes the harder you try, the farther out to lunch you get.
Well, we got a whole bunch of callers on here, Ronnie, and what I'm going to do is I can't go back and screen everything, so I'm just going to bring some guys on. You care to answer some questions? We'll just bring them on. We'll let them ask some questions. How you think? What do you think?
I'll give it a try.
All right. Let's see what we got here. Hello, caller. I think this is Kyle May.
Yeah, it's me.
Hey, you got a question for Ronnie Johnson, Kyle?
I mean, I know he went down and had a decent weekend. I'm sure he would have liked to have won more, but I mean, I just want to ask, what's it like going down there and everybody, except for just a few cars, everybody was so much different each night. I mean, Kyle Bronson, I think, went from running a Conti one night to winning a couple races. I mean, is it just the track changing causing that, or what's going on there?
The first thing that comes to my mind there is, I noticed one night that, Kyle was pretty good, and I noticed maybe the next night he wasn't so good, and then he got going good again. But I noticed some of the other guys that were good early in the week seem to get a little worse as the week goes on. And I don't know everybody's situation, but sometimes has a lot to do with just like I said, just like how things are going. You might get in there and you might have some disagreement with somebody that helps you make those decisions, and you start compromising, and you want to change this spring, that guy wants to change a 4-link rod, so you compromise and you change a little bit on the spring, and you move the 4-link rod. Next thing you know, you maybe have an engine problem or have a whatever, and you get sidetracked, and then you can't even get back to where you're at. But another thing is those crate cars are so even. I mean, they are so competitive down there. That's a real aggressive racetrack. You get down there somewhere and you got to get out of the gas. It's hard to get that thing wound back up again. So if you go over there, just like the night I didn't make the race, I thought I needed to slow down qualifying. I did, and it put us behind. It put us like fifth in our group. Usually we were out third in our group, each night. And I would get better as we raced, but, like in Kyle's case there, maybe one night he just didn't get a good qualifying lap in, and you just get behind, and it's hard to dig yourself out of that hole. They had 54 cars was the smallest car count they had, and other nights there were 70. I mean, only start 20-some of them, so you got 40 and 50 guys going home, so it doesn't take much for you to have a bad night. That's probably, like in Kyle's case there, maybe it's easy to miss your mark there a couple of laps, and then you're behind all night.
And then Turkey was talking about that earlier, about how much competition was down there with you guys. It just seemed like it was going to be hard one way or the other. There was no way about it. Somebody was going home because there were just that many good cars there.
Well, it just shows you how well Ronnie Lee was running. I mean, that guy led a race every night we were there except for the last night. And if you watch the video, the score sheet don't say he led a lap, but if you watch it, he led a lap. So there's a guy that was good every night we were there, and that's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing that a guy would have, would be that good, have the potential to win every single night. But
speaking of Ronnie Lee, RJ, what do you think about that deal between him and Justin McCree? Did you get to see any of that?
I can't comment on that because I didn't see it. I was a good bit behind them that night, and they had watered the racetrack. The bottom of turn 2 that night was really wet, and early in the race I was running the bottom, and then when I stepped to the outside and started making some runs on the outside, them guys would get in that mud and they were just covering us up with mud. You couldn't, I don't know. I can talk to either one of the guys. I didn't see that. Ronnie probably didn't see him. Probably just ran him over. Probably couldn't see him. If he had as much mud on his shield as I did, he probably didn't see him.
You know what? Now that you say that, you're talking about the mud and stuff flying up, because really that's what it looks like happened. From mine, it was either that. It was either he couldn't see where he was going and ran right into the back of him, waiting, because I always tear my tear-offs when I'm going down the straightaway. So maybe that was an explanation for it. But I've got Justin McCree on here. Let's see what his side of the story is. Justin?
Hey, man.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good. How are y'all?
I watched those races, and it looked like you had a heck of a run just about every night down there as well. Now, I don't know if you got in there like Ronnie Johnson did, but you had a really strong car, seemed like, every night.
Yeah, we had a real good run every night. We was just a little bit off every night, just from what Ronnie Lee was. But as far as being up front every night, we had good opportunities every night. We worked on everything, getting it a little quicker each night. We just was a little bit behind him on 1 and 2. Got a pretty good run on in there that one night there, and you was talking about on the deal there between me and him. I believe it was one of the deals that when you come up off the top of that racetrack, you got to get back down to the bottom of turn 2. And if you watch the video, it looks like he was trying to come around me on the outside, but I may have slipped just a little bit, let the back end get out from under me just a little bit, and we just collected each other.
Yeah, and just so that you know, you're on the air with Kyle May and Ronnie Johnson, Jim Moon, and Turkey Turner. We're all in here. And Ronnie, you're more than welcome to stay on with us if you'd like. We'd love to have you on if you got anything to comment.
Well, really, I don't. I tell you, we left here with what I thought was a mild cold. And I got down there and I couldn't speak for 2 or 3 days, and you can tell I'm just trying to get my voice back. So I think I'm going to let you guys have the rest of it.
All right. Well, you thank your sponsors before you go, and we appreciate you coming on and help us filling up this hour.
Sure enough. Yeah, I appreciate you having me. But yeah, Neesmith Chevrolet, Mastersville Race Cars, Hoosier, VP Fuels, Simmons Lawn Care, FG Lumber. Man, I tell you, I know I'm leaving some people out. But I guess those are the main ones. Austin Trucking, a couple of those guys I just mentioned, I definitely left them out in the interview, the filmed interview there. I was pretty excited to win that thing. It really meant a lot to me. Again, as you get older, I mean, you still believe you can win the races, but you never know when the last one's going to be. So I really cherish them now more than I did when I was Justin's age or Ronnie Lee's age. They mean a lot. But thanks for having me on here. And
well, we appreciate you coming on, Ronnie, and you are one of the true heroes of the sport, and I do mean that, and I don't think I just speak for myself when I say that, but we hope to keep on seeing you race and win for many more years to come.
Well, I hope that's the case, but I want to thank you guys for having this show and giving the sport, you and, dozens of others that cover the sport, through the various forms of media, for covering the sport. And again, it's all a passion for all of us. When it's all said and done, I mean, I've been doing this a long time. When it's all said and done, you're not going to find a handful of guys that ever made any money doing it, but they turn around and they do it all again.
And with that, we thank you, Ronnie. And you're welcome here anytime you like, and we'll probably be calling you before you call us, I'm sure.
All right, thanks a lot.
Well, thanks for coming on.
All right, sure.
Ronnie Johnson, everybody. So back to Mr. McCree. Now, me and Turkey was talking about this earlier. I want to go back to this slide job deal, and Ronnie Johnson said that they had put water on the track and maybe had thrown some mud up. You guys were throwing a lot of mud up, going down and hitting that bottom. So that kind of opens things up a little bit more for me. But what was going through your head when he just jacked right into the back of you off of that corner?
Really all that was going through my head was I figured that I was going to get a little love tap, but I didn't realize it was going to be that hard, and hope to goodness I can hold it straight and nothing breaks. But on the next restart there, me and Gentry, we bumped wheels there, and whatever the issue was from the deal before, it broke the yoke on the rear end and busted the joint on the drive shaft. I'm pretty sure that was failure from that collision 2 laps before. But
well, Ronnie Lee pretty much took himself out. So, and this seems to be a recurring thing that's going on. I mean, are these guys are they losing their cool? I know we talked about the mental state, but I mean, I'm not understanding it. There's something missing there, because I'm used to guys when we raced each other, you get around somebody, they may give you a tap in the back, you get that bump saying, hey, I'm here, and if you keep, messing with them, you might get banged on a little bit harder. But it seems like guys are just losing their head and just going right after guys. What's up with that?
Well, it's real easy to do that, especially with the crate racing as close as it is. I mean, it's hard to make up a pass when you do get past. And I'm not going to say it lost his head. It's cool there. It's just one of those deals that I believe we may have been one of the first cars to pass him all weekend. I mean, he was passing cars every night, getting out front, and once he got out front, he was setting sail, and maybe that kind of played a little deal on his mind there when we rolled on the bottom, and maybe I don't really want to step on no toes there saying what happened. It's one of those deals that when you come up off the top of turn 2, it's really hard to see what's happening on the lower side of the racetrack, and maybe come off a little hot,
He was carrying a full head of steam from what I could see in the video, but you're one of those guys that's out there racing in a totally different kind of chassis. Now, do you guys build that thing yourself?
Yes, sir. We build everything in-house except the spindles and the upright frames. We build the lift arms, the lower control arms, the front, the whole deal from straight tubing to the finished product. It's all made in-house. We actually we use our own C.S. Beatty and Ted Lackey. They own their laser, advanced laser up in Mumford. They do all our laser cutting in-house. It's all to our specs. We have not copied on anything or took anything off anyone else's chassis. It's all designed right here in-house in Cottondale. Me and Buster Carden have just sat down and just started building us a car, and we just do everything right here. You know, what information we have is through me and him. You know, his input through my field. So it's a car pretty much just made for my driving style. I mean, we're trying to work with a few people and getting a couple different guys in our cars to, you know, maybe change that driving style and some of the adjustments that we do for different tracks and different driving styles. But we've got one car out that we really looked at there at the end of last year. It was a 17 car. That driver is actually going to pick it up at the end of this week, and we're going to start testing it pretty soon, and he's going to be driving it full time this year. And we have another car from J.D. Pass out of Jackson, Mississippi, that's going to be picking his car up hopefully in 2 weeks, and we'll be doing a lot of testing with it. So we'll be spanning out just a little bit this year, trying to get different feels for different drivers. You know.
Well, it has to make you feel good knowing that you're basically driving your own equipment. And when you say your own equipment, it's not that you just own it. It's, you know, you build it. So that adds another element there. When you can go out to a racetrack with the stuff that you designed and put together with your own hands, does it make the success feel any better?
Oh, definitely. You know, we're standing down there at the hauler beside our car, and we're looking through there, and there's, you know, right at 70 cars in the pits, and we're sitting there going, we're the only one here with this type of chassis, this type of information. Everything that we got is our own. And, you know, if we succeed that night, you know, we pat ourselves on the back. If we don't, we get back in there and we go through our notebooks and figure out what we done wrong. We don't have no one we can pick up the phone and call and ask for information. You know, we do everything ourselves. So it's definitely made me proud this weekend, the whole team, the way we competed with, you know, all the big name chassis and drivers.
Well, that's like I said, you looked really good, and I hear a lot about Justin McCree. It seems like you're making a name for yourself in the South. But what defines success in Justin McCree's terms? What's it going to take for you to say we've made it? We've made our goal. We've satisfied what we came here to do.
Oh, well, and as a race car driver, I don't really think you can ever, you know, say we've succeeded. We always want to win everything that we show up to race. But this weekend we succeeded the first night by getting in the show and, you know, putting ourselves in the position to win. If we do not win, at least be in the position to win. You know, and that's succeeding for me. I mean, you know, sure, I'd love to win all 5 races or at least win one race. But just putting yourself in the position to win each and every race is big time success for me.
That's good enough when it comes down to it.
And there's so many things and variables that can happen, you know, behind the wheel, other cars, you know, tires going flat. Anything can happen, but if you can at least put your team in the position to win is about as good as you can ask for.
And with that said, it looks like you guys are right there. You're on the verge. I know you guys have picked up some wins at a few places, right?
Yes, sir.
What's the future look like for Justin McCree? Where do you go from Ocala?
Well, we're probably gonna start out at Magnolia at the first of the year at the little frostbite deal they have, and we're definitely going to follow through the series this year with Naismith. We ran well with the series last year when they come to Mississippi in our home tracks, and we sit down and talked about it over the winter and thought that it'd be a good deal if we just went ahead and followed the whole series through and see where we end up on the national playing field, you know.
Well, we look forward to keeping track of where things are going for you, Justin. And go ahead and thank some of your sponsors and tell us the name of that car you're building.
The name of our chassis is High Roller Race Cars. I want to thank everybody there that has any input there. You did an interview with me earlier in the week, and I really didn't get to thank many people. I want to thank Century Dedicated, C.S. Beatty Construction, Franklin Enterprises, All-Star Graphics, Friends and Company Hair Studio, Madsen Machine, Shy Racing Suspension, Swift Springs, Weeds Motorsports, all my family and friends and crew And most of all, I'd like to thank God for giving me the opportunity to do what we love and be successful at it.
Well, Justin, like I said, we all look forward to seeing you have success on the racetrack, and especially myself, because I always like to see a guy who's building his own stuff do really well. And you are definitely doing really good in my book right now. So keep up the good work, brother, and keep us updated.
All right, man. I appreciate it, bro.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right, man.
So, Kyle May, what's going on, man?
Not much. What about y'all?
Oh, I just figured I'd message you and get you on here because Moon and Turkey seem to have gotten quiet. I think Turkey was working on a car.
Hey, yeah, I was working on my car, too. Hey, Schlenk's on the line there, buddy.
Is that Rusty?
Probably from an Ohio number.
Oh, that's not an Ohio number. He's got a Canada number.
I don't know.
That's where Schlenk's from, isn't he?
No, he's not from. He's from Ohio, Michigan, somewhere up in there.
Dude, you know I've got your old car, Rusty.
Oh yeah?
The one that you flipped that Mike Lawrence owned?
Oh, really?
Yes, sir. We had to cut that thing up. What did you do to that?
I flipped it hot lapping, actually.
It was in hot laps.
Yeah, it was in hot laps. Going into one at Oakshade all by myself. Had a rest and went for a ride. What's that?
How old were you?
How old was I? I think it was 2009. So.
Oh, so it was just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I was 23.
Oh, so because you've been racing late model since you were like 14, right?
Actually, my first late model race, I was 13.
and Moon, Sauce told me, he's like, this car's great. He said there ain't nothing wrong with this race car.
I mean, I think after we flipped it, I won a couple races with it, so it wasn't too bad.
You got to remember, he was sailing that day.
That's it. But he did at least put a new rear end in it for me. So that had it sold right there. I was done. I said, I'm going to have a rocket, and Rusty Schlenk drove this car. Man, we're going to do good this year. And I got
a new rear end to start with.
That's it. And I didn't run worth a crap.
But wait a minute. We got to put this in perspective. Ryan, when have you ever ran anything better than worth a crap?
Dude, I ran good the last race at Moeller's.
Okay. So once in 10 years.
Dude, I straight up put a power move on the track champion. Okay, high side, banging it off the wall kind of power move.
Was he pulling in the infield?
No, he was not. He was on the gas and going straight. He did get back around me. But
in other words, you pulled a slide job on the high side for him.
that was it. That was it. But hey, I ran second to the track champion, so I'm good with that. Just like Justin McCree, and it was in a car that Rusty Schlenk flipped. Let alone one that he drove.
So was this hot laps?
Actually, it was a heat race, something like that. I don't know. There's a good video. I had to put it up. I said I passed Barry Doss on the outside, and I did it. So I'm a winner in that aspect.
Hey, Rusty, are you going to Florida this week for that North Florida deal?
I wish, man. No, my stuff ain't ready. I'm trying to get everything around to my race party coming up the 23rd, so I'm not going to have time to. And I got a couple customers' cars I have to work on, so I can't take any more vacations. Last week was enough.
I've heard about some of those. I've heard some of those Rusty Schlenk race parties get pretty exciting. You got a go-kart track or something, right?
Yeah. We just started the go-kart track in August. Just kind of played around with it this year. I think we're actually going to try and make a points series out of it next year if I can find the time to do it.
Race on Wednesdays. No, hey, wait a minute. Sam gave us Monday and Tuesday off all year, so you can run them on Mondays and Tuesdays.
Yeah, I'll haul back from Cedar Lake and run Monday and Tuesday, just drive back up there and race again.
Yeah, well, So, ask questions, Brian. You're the questionnaire. You're leading this program.
I'm not I am a leader, ain't I?
Yeah, you're leading the program.
We did pretty good until I hit a brick wall. Well, see, the thing is, Rusty, is that usually, and I apologize. I should apologize for keeping you on hold so long. Typically, I'm on here and I'm screening calls, and Webb is continuing to talk all the bullshit all day. But Webb's not here because he's taking a vacation.
Yeah, he's on family duties.
He's on vacation.
Don't go any deeper. He's on family duties.
Oh, that's right. That's one of the things I want.
That is one of the things we can't discuss. He's on family duty.
That's okay. He won't listen to the whole show.
I bet he does.
I bet he does too.
He don't want his ass thrown out of the bus.
Now, hold on. Now, Turkey started the whole thing about the shocks. Oh, look, everybody goes quiet. Rusty, give us your take. You know anything about this 525 engine?
I don't know much about it. The only thing, Kathy Jarvis, I was running with a little bit this year. I was trying to help her out. She had a 525, but it wasn't a standard straight motor. I mean, it was.
That was one of them special Rayburn motors.
Yeah, I think it was a Jim Moon motor.
It's not a Moon motor.
That's it. See, you go up there. I hear this all the time, and I thought, no, CJ wouldn't do that. And then I thought, CJ Rayburn. CJ Rayburn would do whatever it takes to win, right?
Well, Kathy's motor, Kathy's 525 wasn't built to run the 525 class. They actually bought it and built it to run it in the Super. So.
Could you imagine C.J. Rayburn working for Lockheed trying to build an airplane with his wings?
Some of those airplanes.
Why did everybody go quiet on that?
Some of those airplanes look like some of the stuff that C.J.'s put together. I've looked down through the history of Rayburn, but there is one awesome thing about those guys up there is that they've taken those cars literally everywhere.
Yeah.
Not too many
literally everywhere.
Not too many people can say that they've. I'm pretty sure that there has been a Rayburn car at a Pikes Peak hill climb.
Well, the first time I ever seen Shane Clanton was when he won the Ice Bowl, 10 years ago, and there was holes in the racetrack, and he survived, and he got out, and he had a Rayburn, stronger than dirt.
Literally, and I know a guy by the name of Wayne Chen that ran those Rayburn cars at some rough tracks too, and let me tell you something, you want to be on edge, just go watch that guy drive.
Somebody asked me at Florida this weekend, what's so special about CJ? I said, he's in his own world. Everything's welded. I don't think nothing's bolt-on except maybe the A-frames and stuff like that. Everything else is welded, ain't it?
That's why it's stronger than dirt.
Now, our friend here, he actually drove for Rayburn for a little while, didn't you?
Not necessarily for Rayburn, but yeah, I had a Rayburn car from 2004 till 2010.
So was it a Rayburn car, or was this a Rayburn car that Mr. Schlenk took back to his shop and made his own?
Well, I can honestly say I never cut one thing off of the Rayburn. It was Rayburn's chassis the whole way. I mean,
you love how he worded that.
I never cut anything off.
It was a true blue Rayburn.
Yeah,
he didn't say that.
He did.
The rear suspension had some different things on it that he wasn't doing once I went to 4-bar, but my swing arm stuff was pretty much standard racing.
All true racers are a bunch of damn liars. You know that, don't you?
That's not so. Maybe down to where you're from.
So in other words, if I needed to know what you was running, you'd tell me that night.
Well, yeah, I'd tell you.
Hey, now that we've got an actual national champion on the line, okay, let's start this discussion, Jim. Me and you talked. We had talked about this tire deal. Okay?
Uh-huh.
All right, where everybody runs one tire that is softer than crap, and you're not allowed to sipe it. You're not allowed to groove it. Rusty?
Well, I actually think Rusty and I have had this conversation.
What do you think about that? A one tire rule, no siping, no grooving, and it's so soft that if you did prep it, it wouldn't make any difference. Oh, and keep in mind, it's got to cost like $60, right, Jim?
Yeah. This is where I went with this, Rusty. If we had, let's just say, somebody built a 10. Okay, an LM10 compound, which we're used to, and we could buy it for $75. That way, you could throw it away every night and bolt a new one on the next night.
I don't think it'd be a bad deal as long as you couldn't groove them and pipe them. If it was just a bolt on and go kind of deal, I think it'd be a good deal.
Yep, you're going to bolt it on, you're going to go. No grooving, no siping. Kind of use the fast track rule. If you can drag a fingernail across it and it gets hung up in it, it's wrong. It's got to be. Can't grind on it. You bolt it on and you go.
I wish every series would go to something like that. I don't even necessarily think it needs to be a soft tire. I don't mind a hard tire.
This is where I went with the soft tire, and this is why I think the soft tire would work. Because at that point, a guy with a crate motor and a guy with a super motor are on equal playing field. Because a guy like, maybe not you, Rusty, but a guy that's hard on the gas is going to burn the tire up. So he's going to be rocket ship fast first half of the feature, and then he's going to back up to the guy with the crate motor that can't go fast enough to spin it. We'll do away with the crate class. We'll just have one late model class. Everybody's in it together. Everybody on the same tire.
I like it.
I don't know about the soft tire though. I think you're going to put the crate guys behind too early in the night. They're not even going to qualify on it.
Okay, then here we go. You have to run whatever tire you start the heat race on. You got to start the feature on.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, and you can come in and change it after one lap of the feature's in. So you got to qualify, run your heat race, and run the feature on this same soft tire.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I still think you're gonna
sounds like NASCAR to me. Oh, they better build a pit road.
everybody pull off the racetrack. I won't pull off the racetrack.
Then you gotta have a $10,000 air gun and nitrogen bottles, and I don't see that working.
Well,
yeah, but you got to change the tires before they throw the green.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's going to be, let me tell you, I've changed, Turkey, you've changed tires before, I know.
I know I have. I changed them when we worked with Bill Elliott.
And how long you think you could do those wide fives quicker than you could the regular fives?
No way.
Right. There's too much space. And
there's
then
too much space
and
in the fender,
as deep as those
especially with a full bar car.
Yeah. So there you
with
go.
A full bar car.
That's going to screw that air gun. You're still going to be using your electric impact.
We had it down to 1 minute and 21 seconds for 4 tires.
I think if the series would grow a set of balls and stop the tire doping, I think we wouldn't be having this.
What tire doping? Haven't you talked to those series? There is no problem with tire doping. It don't go on. Now when you need some, you come call me and I'll sell you some. But it don't go on.
Will you come over the racetrack and not crash the plane?
I will not crash the plane. If I ever come, I will not crash the plane.
They won't give me a license to fly a plane, so I'm gonna have to drive an F-350.
So if I was in Ocala this weekend and needed some, you'd fly over and drop it right out on me.
I would drive it down to you if you needed some, or I could ship it to you, and the FedEx man could stop and see you, or the UPS man, whichever you prefer.
Well, let me ask you this: how do you propose that they stop the tire doping? How's that
they grow a set of nuts and throw some people out and throw them out for a year.
They ain't going to. Throw them out for life. They're not going to.
I guarantee you. I could stop it.
Mr. Turner, I'm telling you, I understand what you're saying, but the powers that be will never let it happen. You're never going to see Scotty Bloomquist is never going to get sent home. Jimmy Owens is never going to get sent home. Jason Fagers is never going to get sent home. Brian Shirley's never going to get sent home.
They're just not going.
I'll agree with you because the series ain't going to grow nuts enough to do it.
And I ain't saying any of them are cheating. I'm just telling you, every one of them has one person in common.
I wonder who that is. Oh, yeah. Hey, speaking of, did you see the pictures of Chris Madden? There's pictures of Chris Madden on Facebook. I can't remember who put it up. I'll find it here in just a second.
Well, let me tell you something. In my business, I'm in the grading business, and that's how I make my living. I got bulldozers and dump trucks. And every job that I do, I have to put up a performance bond on my performance. And you know what? If you ever have a bond cashed in, you're done. So if World of Outlaws would go to Hoosier and say, you want to be my tire for this series, you give me $1 million bond that you're not going to build but this tire and this one compound, and every driver gets in it, and if I catch you doping it or putting shit in it that nobody else is doing, and you cash that $1 million bond in, they're done.
But this is the problem.
They're done.
But I've talked to Hoosier. Hoosier don't give a crap.
They're
not their
problem.
They're
in the business of selling tires.
They give a crap less what you do with that tire. You can soak that thing in bleach if you think that's going to make it faster. Put propane in it if you think it's going to be faster. You do whatever you want. They're not in the business of policing tires. They're in the business of selling tires.
But do you agree that they make 2 or 3 compounds on every tire?
I agree, and I know for a fact that they make different tires that are stamped with the same number.
But I don't think they're coming from Hoosier.
There's where your bond comes in. There's where your bond comes in.
Right. I think Rusty, what do you think? Do you think that certain people get tires that are mismarked on purpose from Hoosier?
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's never happened, but I would say I would have to say
you're probably a victim of it.
No, but I definitely know. I definitely know that it's been out there. I don't know. I know there's been other people restamping stuff, but
yeah.
I would have to say nowadays everybody can get their hands on so much shit that Hoosier doesn't have to do anything.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, here, let me put it to you like this: that picture has been conveniently removed. I think.
Is that the one where the tires are wrapped in plastic up on the tire?
Yeah, they took a picture of Chris Madden's car in his shop, and there's all these tires. Okay, there's all these new, nice marked tires, and then like select numbers of them are wrapped in plastic. And Nick Easting and Nick Lyons is on there saying it's a fashion statement.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you this:
we don't know what those guys do for a living.
The people that are doping tires right now, people that are doping tires don't live long enough to tell about it much because all the chemicals that go in it is affecting their health.
I hear you. I'm telling you,
if you don't care nothing about your body, keep doping.
I'm telling you, that's not necessarily always the case.
You'll wind up in the cellar or in the loft, one of the two.
Yeah, that's true. That's what will eventually end up happening to you. But we got to come up with a way to stop it. And I think the one tire deal, that's the soft tire, I think that right there stops it.
Yep, I think you make it ridiculously stupid soft so that you purposely burn it up at the end of the night and there's nothing left and you have to bolt a new one on the next night.
But then Turkey also said something about grooving and siping them, too, that would make a difference.
No, we're done. We don't do any of it. You bolt it.
Yeah, but grooving and siping tires helps the doping.
Right, that's what, and what we're saying is that, no grooving, no siping either. So you have to mount the tire and race it the way you get it.
Yep.
I agree with it.
Now, how many
a lot of the doping.
How many drivers can we get to agree to it, and then?
But it doesn't matter. We need a sanctioning body to step up and say this is what we're doing.
Well, screw the thing.
That's what I said from day one. Grow a set of nuts. All these people out here listening to us, grow a set of nuts and throw the top. Throw Matthew Turner out. Throw Scott Bloomquist out if he gets caught with them. Send them home for a year. What's that going to do to Matthew's sponsors? What's that going to do to Bloomer's sponsors?
Yep.
Cheap son of a bitches. We're not sponsoring you no more.
That's it.
And I think it's easy on the penalty. The first time, it's a year. The second time, we ain't never going to see you again.
What did they do to Lance Armstrong?
Oh, they've destroyed him, or at least they're trying to destroy him.
That's what they need to do to racers.
Yep, I don't disagree with that at all.
Yeah, so that's where we're headed, but we're about out of time, guys. Rusty, is there anything you got to say about this one tire deal?
Man, I've been saying it for a long time. I wish they'd go to. It needs to be policed more. I mean, I can honestly tell you, I go to a racetrack and 99 times if I'm getting beat by dope tires. I can't afford to do it. I just can't do it. There's no.
Well, that's what's wrong racing.
Yeah, that's a fact.
That's why the little man is not showing up for the. It's like the guy in World of Outlaws. He'd love for us to come run with him. We don't have the money to spend on tires and tire dope to run up front. So we're sitting on. We can't run with a big dog. We're sitting on the porch.
That guy wasn't at liberty to discuss that because he is just the mouthpiece for the series.
Right.
He's not a technical guy.
We need to get the tech guy to come on here, but all these tech guys tend to just kind of shy away from talking about their tech ability.
They can only tech what the owner of the series will let them tech.
That's it.
You're only as good as your boss. If a boss, it's like a dog and your master. If your master says stick him, he sticks him. If your master pulls back on and won't let you loose, you can't do nothing.
Well, the good thing about this is that we're having the discussion, and the discussion is good. What we got to do is we got to get drivers to come on board. We got to get guys that really want to race, that want to race fair, to come on board. And
you know what's wrong with America? It's just like this, and I deal with it every day. You see the black people stick together. You see the Mexicans stick together. You see the Chinese people stick together. But you won't get the American people to stick together. And until we stick together, we're not going to get nothing accomplished.
That's it. But they want to keep us divided, Turkey. They want us divided.
Well, I know it. And we're dividing ourselves. We're our worst enemy.
You will go down as officially the last guest of the show In the Dirt. We will never be back on the air again.
What minute do we? Hey, there was nothing wrong with what he said. I'm totally in agreement. I'm with you, Turkey. Rusty, where are we going to see you at this year, buddy?
Hopefully a lot of places. I know I'm gonna make it down to Duck River a couple times. I think they got one early March, I believe it is. I want to go to down there, or mid-March, and then I'm going to start the UMP stuff like I normally do end of March, and try and hit all the UMP stuff and go for a national championship again. I guess that's my plan. I'd like to after going to that crate deal this weekend down there. I think I'm going to try and challenge me at the crate motor. I kind of like that deal. Everybody's kind of on a more even playing field than what I'm used to. So I'd like to have some.
Is that the first time you've ever been to a crate race like that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been to our crate stuff around home, but nothing like, I'm not a big crate show. That 2,000 to win crate shows around here, pull 15 cars. 2,000 to win crate show down there pulled 70. So,
yeah.
What? Was you at Florida?
Yeah, he was. He was, Miss Turner.
Did you not enjoy the racing?
Oh, man, that was a hell of a race. That's what I'm saying, man. It's going to be, I'm about 95% sure that I'm going to try and somehow get a crate motor so I can do that deal next year.
Neat Smith Chevrolet, they'll send you one or deliver it to your door.
Turkey said that he would deliver it to your door. But when is this party and how do we get invited?
Well, everybody's invited. February 23rd is my race party. It's kind of a benefit deal we put together every year to try and raise a little bit of money, sell some T-shirts and all that good stuff. It's $12 ahead of time, $15 at the door, $12 if you pre-order them. But you're getting fed. We're roasting hogs, and all the family's making a bunch of food. So there's normally Normally way more than enough food to go around. I was eating hog for 2 weeks last year because there's too much left over. So the more the merrier.
So everybody make sure you get to Rusty's party and get some hog and race some go-karts.
We ain't racing go-karts. We're racing tricycles at the party.
Oh, tricycles. Is it drunken tricycles?
Well, last year it was just going to be a tricycle race, but we ended up making it a drunken tricycle race. So I think we're going to try and split it up this year because I'm not a drinker. And I took part in the tricycle race, which we ended up having to chug a beer every lap. I did win the race, but I'm pretty sure I didn't stop puking for 3 hours afterwards. So
you must have got a hold of some bad stuff.
I can't drink, man. Get 3 beers, I am drunk.
Mr. Turner, you got access to any of that moonshine down there?
You come to Dawsonville. Dawsonville, Georgia is the only place that you can come to City Hall and see government, see race cars, memorabilia, Hall of Fame, where racing started, and have a drink of moonshine all in the same building. Now, how much better is it than that?
I don't think it gets any better than that. Rusty Schlenk, thank you so much for coming on, sir. You are.
Thank you guys. I love it, man. I'll be on anytime.
You're one of the great up-and-comers in my book. Jim Moon, I don't even know what to say about you, Jim. You are something else. And Turkey's on his way to becoming a legend, so.
I'm a legend in my own mind, y'all.
In your own mind. And Kyle May, thank you, sir, for coming on. We'll play the Kyle May theme. Thank you, guys. Thanks for coming on tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. We will be back next week with Webb Dillard at the same time, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. You all have a good night. Thank you guys again. Thank you so much. We will see you next time.